Greatest thrill you'll ever go through. But I think this moment was brought about Thursday before the game, where Russ Grimm, who's never won a coin toss for us ever when he's been a captain of the football team, all of a sudden wins a coin toss, and we as the offense get to be introduced, which makes it even more worthwhile. And you really can't say the feelings that are going through a player's mind when they're introduced in this football field.
I'll tell you one feeling. Don't fall down when you're running out there.
I think on the turf was even tougher, because you stub,
oh my God,
you stub your feet, and I almost did, I think.
He had the one player for the Rams running out on the field and smacked into his own player and knocked his helmet off. We're now talking about Phil Hansen running on the field, Mark. Again, in there, the emotion of the players in the tunnel as they're about to be introduced. You're going out to the Super Bowl. Is this, I mean, it has to be different from any other game you've ever played in your life.
Well, I think the one thing that comes to mind is the August practices, the two-a-days you go through, all those things. You say to yourself, why are we going through these practices? Why are we doing this? Well, this is the reason right here. The introduction at a Super Bowl that makes all those days worthwhile.
But as much as important as it is, you have to look at the situation also. You don't want to put too much importance on it and add the pressure to yourself. So you've got to find a nice balance there.
Exactly.
I'm not sure if on the sound we can hear the boos coming across. The crowd goes wild over this one man, Bruce Smith. Can he dominate the game today? Can he be the catalyst of the Bills winning a game, do you think?
He can. He obviously has the ability. I think he has to work. The other parts of their defense have to work well. Jeff Wright at nose tackle has been very effective at causing a lot of pressure up front, which allows Bruce to come free on the outside. Obviously, Cornelius Bennett on the other side, another strong force. But if Emmitt Smith can't get a running game going, and you let Cornelius and Bruce loose and let them, if they know that it's a passing situation, these guys will have 4 or 5 sacks apiece.
When you played these guys earlier in the year, you actually beat the Bills. Later in the year, they look good. They look great in the playoffs, especially in the second half of the Houston Oilers game onwards. Do you think they're a different team today than they were back then when you played them earlier in the year?
I think they're quite a bit different. I think that they've had some injuries at that point in the season, and
it kind of reminds me of last year. You know, they introduced us. We got a few cheers. They introduced Buffalo, and the place went crazy. It's a reverse this year. They introduced Buffalo, and kind of a few cheers here and there. It seems like the majority of people here are pulling for the so-called America's team anyway. But you know, you prepare, and I think, you know, Marv Levy is one of those guys that prepares very well. Joe Gibbs is probably the best that, well, he's the only one that I've been under, so I don't know. I understand how the others prepare. Once it comes to a game like this now, they kind of take a back seat, pull up and have themselves a soda or something, and you know, all the preparation, everything they put into this game boils down to what happens out there with the players on the field.
We just saw Alvin Harper being introduced. I know that you're both relieved that it's their offense being introduced, not the defense, because who knows their defense? We'll say it's the no-name defense of the Dolphins back in the 70s. We just saw Harper coming on the field, Mark. You were talking about that one gutsy call on the first down against the 49ers.
Right after the 49ers got their crowd involved, I thought it was one of the better calls of the game, you know. Norv Turner's has changed Troy Aikman's game, has changed their offense around, and given them an opportunity, and even a situation like that where you'd figure first and second down.
The reputation of really enjoying and utilizing veteran players.
Mark, the players are now lining along the field. The national anthem's about to be sung by Garth Brooks.
Well, that's my excitement here. That's where we get the perks out of this deal, is Garth Brooks singing the national anthem.
Well, I'm sure there's a lot of excitement. Now let's go down to the field for the national anthem sung by Garth Brooks.
To honor America, please join Grammy Award winner.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er ramparts we walked, were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner
Well, those Jets flew about 100 yards from our heads. The scene is exciting. This is really building up to be something special. It's going to be a great game, so don't go away. When he was with the 49ers, but you played against him when he was with the Bills,
With
didn't
the
you?
Bills, that was with the Patriots way back when. So, but we're not that old.
Pretty good player, wasn't he, back then?
Exceptional. I mean, you know, the running back has changed quite a bit since then. You know, then he was obviously a great speed guy. I don't think he was a moves guy, like a little bit more fluid in his moves. These guys are a little jukey.
What he's come out on the field to do is the coin toss. Obviously, he wants the Bills to win this. Let's listen to this and see what happens.
I'm sorry. OJ, will you toss a coin, please? Heads is the call. It is heads. Buffalo, you have won the toss. Receive. Reverse your gold, please.
Well, Bob, the Buffalo Bills have won the toss. Let's now talk about what they have to do. What's the keys to the game for the Buffalo Bills?
Well, I think one of the keys will be, and that they will be most effective if they can get that no huddle working, keep the Dallas defense from utilizing the multiple personnel that they like to, wear them down a little bit. I think that'll give them a whole tremendous amount of momentum, and I think it'll give them a tremendous edge early on. I think using Thurman out of the backfield in short passes, whether it be screen passes or little dumps over the middle, I think is one of the things that will be very effective. It'll keep that, along with Thurman in the running sense, will keep the defensive line just a little bit at bay for Dallas.
Tell me something quickly. Mark, have you picked up anything from the eyes of the players? Anything that's saying to you one team's more confident? Make it quickly.
No, you really couldn't. They were a little joking on there at the coin toss, you know, when the heads came up, and they thought there was a conspiracy with OJ flipping the coin and being it come heads and Buffalo getting the coin toss there. But I really can't really tell from any of the players. I know there's a lot of excitement down there, and who knows what is going through their mind at this point in time.
We just saw a shot of Thurman Thomas's helmet, which
he's got it, so that's good.
Very infamous last year, where he lost it for the first two plays of the game, and they haven't let him live it down yet.
One word answer: who's going to win the game, Mark?
Gosh, this is a tough one.
One word.
Buffalo.
Dallas.
Yeah, well, I'm going with the Buffalo Bills as well. So let's now go over to our NBC commentators, Dick Enberg and Bob Trumpy. Enjoy the game.
Two men have returned kickoffs for touchdowns. Fulton Walker did it right here 10 years ago against the Redskins, and Stanford Jennings in Miami against the San Francisco 49ers. Brad Lamb from Anderson, Indiana College is one of the deep return men for Buffalo. 49-year-old Jimmy Johnson, what he has done in 4 years in Big D, from 1-15 to the Super Bowl. With Brad Lamb is Kenneth Davis deep. Chapter 1 begins. Lamb fighting the sun. It is 3:30 West Coast time, and Buffalo will open at the 20. Jim Kelly, the quarterback. The fast break football offense, the no huddle, the K-gun they call it in Buffalo.
Well, we're going to find out quick what Dallas plans to do with this hurry-up offense. They normally use 18 or 19 guys defensively, 6 or 7 defensive backs, and they're starting with the nickel. Gant will replace the middle linebacker, Robert Jones, so they're starting with nickel coverage here against this hurry-up offense of Buffalo.
Referee Dick Hantak is announcing to the Rose Bowl audience that the 25-second clock is not operative, but the 45-second clock is, so we'll be able to stay with the rhythm of this game as dictated by rules. And here we go. You said they might be patient early. Let's watch Buffalo. Dennis Bird, remembered by some of his friends in that offensive line. Buffalo. Wide open, Andre Reed. And the all-time receiver in Buffalo history, Reed, gets 14 yards.
Well, first play of the Super Bowl, they emptied the backfield. That means single coverage. Reed does an excellent job of getting away from the bump and run for a nice first down pickup.
Ken Norton made the tackle. Thurman Thomas stumbles for 2. Norton again the tackler. Number 51, Ken Norton, the son of the former heavyweight champion Ken Norton, has been a 60-minute player, a whistle player. He plays from the start to the end of every play and plays all 60 minutes.
He's also on special teams.
Second down and 8. Kelly, the hurry up. Thomas, a screen in the flat. Ooh, tripped up just as he had an open field at the 42, shy of the first down. Larry Brown from the right corner made the stop.
Dick, Miami saw that play in the championship game down in Miami, and it drove them nuts. It's the read screen. They're telling the defense, you do what you want. We'll throw it to either the wide receiver or Thurman Thomas on the screen.
Third down, a short 3. Kelly. Russell, Maryland can't take him, but coming up from the secondary to make a big hit. Number 27, Thomas Everett, a former Steeler.
They emptied the backfield again, trying to get Andre Reed in single coverage on Gant. Maryland, not normally a very quick defensive tackle. He's in there for the run. Excellent job of running down Kelly.
A sack and a loss of a couple. So in to punt is Chris Moore. Kmart, they call him. Kelvin Martin back at the Cowboy 20. He has returned 2 for touchdowns this year from the 14. And Steve Tasker, who else? The feisty little wide receiver for Buffalo, got his hands on Kmart first. A 45-yard punt, 1 yard on the return. A timeout. Dallas with the ball when we return.
Let's get tuned up. Play ball, okay? Let's play ball.
What do you do?
Johnston, the blocking back in motion, and Aikman comes out throwing. Emmett Smith in the flat. Oh, is he greeted? No gain. Coming up to make the stop, Marcus Patton, whose mother was a linebacker herself. The playing days some 20 years ago.
Yeah, but she used to play her games at Long Beach City College. The Rose Bowl's a little different. As you watch this play, look at the corners on Buffalo up in bump and run. Outlet receiver. Of course, in the NFC Championship game, San Francisco played off, and Dallas threw and threw very well. Buffalo is trying to put pressure up there on the receivers to get Bruce Smith in Troy Aikman's face as best they can.
You don't see many open field tacklers get Smith down on one hit. Breaks a tackle there, but there's plenty of support. Again, no gain. Bruce Smith slowed him down, and then Talley and Kelso collaborated on the stop.
Dick, Buffalo believes that their run defense is stout enough that they can handle Emmitt Smith, and what they want to try to do is bounce him to the outside. You see an excellent job of the Buffalo interior defensive lineman just standing their ground, and Emmitt Smith needs movement so he can decide where he can run the ball.
Give him a yard gain. It's 3rd and 9 into the eyes of Darryl Talley. Aikman over the head of Michael Irvin out at the 35. Dallas 3 and out.
Smith on 2, and it's a big matchup for Dallas and the Buffalo Bills, and we saw some players in warm-up having some footing problems. Bruce Smith slips there.
Mike Saxon to punt. He averaged 43 yards a kick on the season, his longest 58. And there's Clifford Hicks back at the 38. Oh, Carcilli blocked, and it goes out of bounds at the 16-yard line. Steve Tasker. Oh my. Tasker, the first man that Marv Levy acquired when he became the coach of the Bills 7 years ago.
Dick, watch what happens. He comes over here, and once the count is done by the punt team of the Dallas Cowboys, now he ruins their numbers. He gets up inside, and really there's not a lot of help for the guy that's supposed to block him. He just makes a nice move, and the first big play of this game goes for Buffalo.
First down at the 16, and Kelly now from the shotgun. Metzelar's the tight end in motion to block. And it's Thomas running that way. Thurman Thomas, nearly 10. Ken Norton, another tackler. As you look at little Tasker, the choir boy looks, but boy, can he play tough.
In big games, you want big players to make big plays. Watch this stutter draw coming your way. Metzelar's leads on Haley. Excellent pull by Richard, 51. Parker, 74. Bread and butter for the Buffalo offense.
2nd and 1. Oh, Thomas is drilled in the backfield for a loss. Gant coming up. He's that nickel back instead of the linebacker, but is tough versus the line. And Russell Maryland was there as well. Gant, he's the one you've been reading about that does the shark dance. He said he'll only display it today if he runs one back for a second time. Kelly fumbles. And it's right there in the lap of number 69, Will Wolford, the Pro Bowl tackle. Tony Tolbert, 92, or is it Haley, 94?
Haley is the guy who gets the pressure on Will Wolford when Kelly is flush from the pocket slightly. Haley is right there, Tolbert there, and then Wolford finally gets it between.
Bob, a flag down, and that's all for naught.
Penalized half the distance. 5 yards, first down.
Buffalo gets the break. That's 2 now, as Jimmy Johnson's Cowboys guilty of holding an automatic first down.
You can see the cornerbacks here up in bump and run. That's Brown on Luff, and yes, a handful of shirts.
Now flag thrown right at 24. Larry Brown, the victim, and it's 1st and goal, Buffalo at the 5. Carwell Gardner comes in as the blocking back. Number 35. It's Thomas for a couple. Robert Jones now in there. Wasn't expected to play much because the Cowboys defense dictated by that hurry-up offense. Jones, a rookie from East Carolina, played very well in this first season in the NFL, was the number 2 tackler for Dallas this year.
But on goal line defense, Dick, you put your 11 best guys in there, and even though he's a rookie, he's one of the 11 best.
Thomas again. He is at the goal line. Touchdown. Thurman Thomas, frustrated last year. Steve Tasker's block punt made it happen.
They run the counter. Wolford with an excellent block. 69. All he's got to do is break the plane to the goal line with the ball. He does clearly.
James Washington then wrestling him back and trying to rip the ball away. But Thomas, helmet and all, 6-0. Steve Christie adds the extra point. Thomas, who had only 13 yards in the Super Bowl last year, this is his 12th, 13th, and 14th today, and Buffalo leads 7-0.
I've never seen anything like it. Is this wild?
The Michael Jackson halftime, about 6 minutes into the
Super
show.
Bowl 27 is 5 minutes old, and Buffalo has struck with a quick score, catapulted by the special teams play of Steve Tasker. His block punt setting up the Bills at the 16 of Dallas, and Thurman Thomas did all the work and ran it in from 2. Christie to the 6-yard line. It's Kelvin Martin out to the 28-yard line. Let's go back to the last time the AFC defeated the NFC in the Super Bowl. That was 1984, Super Bowl 18. Jeff Hayes, the punter for the Washington Redskins, and Derek Jensen of the Raiders with the block punt that set up the Raiders for a touchdown, and they went on to a very impressive victory over the Washington Redskins. And here's today.
Here's the punt. You see the overload. Watch the fullback, Johnston, look over here. Tasker, they kind of forget him, and he comes right up the gut. And I don't think the punter ever sees him, Dick.
From the 28, Aikman to Smith. Slips, gets back to the 28. That's it. Bruce Smith and Cornelius Bennett there to down him.
Nick, the Buffalo Bills are daring the Dallas Cowboys to beat him with Emmitt Smith. Bump and run coverage. They've got a lot of people up at the line of scrimmage. They are saying that the league's leading rusher the last 2 years cannot beat us in the Super Bowl.
He's had his hands on the ball 3 times, once on a pass, 2 carries, a total of 1 yard. Over the middle to Novacek, the tight end. He is close to a first down at the 37-yard line. Marcus Patton and Shane Conlon, the tackle on a former Wyoming Cowboy, and a Cowboy he is in Gothenburg, Nebraska.
Watch the way they try to hold the tight end up. That's Patton, 53, trying to hold him up just inside the linebackers, Conlon and Patton. Novacek, this kid is a lot like Keith Jackson in that he plays for the Dolphins now. He knows defenses. He reads the dead spot of zones. He's not a deep threat, but he's the outlet for Troy Aikman on an awful lot of passes.
Derek Fennell comes in at the other tight end on 3rd and short. And it's Smith. He has the first down near the 40. The Cowboys first of the game. 8:19 left in the opening quarter. Buffalo leads 7-0. Son of a superintendent of an ice cream factory in Port Arthur, Texas, Jimmy Johnson says, my favorite flavor, you'd think anything but vanilla when you meet this man.
I like what Michael Irvin said about it. He was his coach at Miami. He said, at Miami, he said, son, what are you going to do with you the rest of your life? Here at Dallas, he said, son, what are you doing for me on Sunday?
First down inside the 40. And it's Smith with a flag down. And Smith all the way to the Buffalo 47-yard line. Mark Kelso was the last blue shirt in the way. And now let's check the flag. They'll take it back. Illegal movement on the part of the Cowboys.
And Dick, this is the chance that Buffalo is willing to take. They'll give him a
illegal formation offense. Number 71 was not covered. It will be a 5-yard penalty. Repeat the down. First down.
Mark Tuanay, the left tackle.
That's a young team that's showing a little bit of nerves. There's no question he should have been covered, but Michael Irvin, the wide receiver, was not on the line of scrimmage. Illegal procedure.
It's really Irvin's penalty and not Tuanay's. Irvin should have been up
a yard. Correct, but that's nerves. That's our first Super Bowl.
So instead of a 13-yard gain by Smith, it's now 1st and 15. Bennett after Aikman, and he gets it away to the fullback, Daryl Johnston, out to the 44-yard line. Talley and Williams on the tackle. Number 48, Daryl Johnston.
Well, there was some word that Cornelius Bennett may not be completely healthy, but he certainly looks like he's got the biscuits, got all of his speed. You see Emmitt Smith there, not only a great rusher, but also an excellent blocker, underrated as a blocker. He does a good job picking up Bennett there.
The biscuit. He loved biscuits with syrup as a kid, and the nickname sticks. Aikman gets away from the rush, incomplete and almost intercepted. Novacek, and it deflected through the hands of Shane Conlon. And it was Bennett again putting on the pressure.
Well, what about that bad hamstring? Bennett with 2 weeks rest. Gieseck, 63, he slipped. Well, we've seen a lot of slippage here by players. Aikman, an excellent job of avoiding the rush to get it off. And then as Novacek can't really find Aikman, and Aikman kind of throws it in desperation, incomplete. Lots of pressure here by Buffalo in this series, Dick.
Third wide receiver, Kelvin Martin, comes in. On 3rd and 7, Aikman. Incomplete, and again pressure. This time it was Darryl Talley.
That's 3 plays, 3 blitzes, 2 by Bennett and Darryl Talley. There's no question that Buffalo realizes that Dallas's offense is a timing offense on the pass. They are trying as best they can early, to disrupt the timing, and it's working.
Now, Mike Saxon, remember the last experience, a negative one for him. They're trying to find Tasker on that line of scrimmage. A return on and a beautiful kick. It lands in the end zone. Touchback for Buffalo. They lead 7-0. We'll see him at the 20-yard line when we come back. Shoulder pads of Mitch Farrat. He suddenly becomes a key player in this Super Bowl drama. Has replaced one of the game's best centers, Kent Hull. Hull has injured a knee. He's been taken to the Buffalo dressing room.
Dick, the center on this Buffalo offense, because of the hurry-up, is as important as the quarterback. He makes all the calls to the offensive line. This is a big loss for Buffalo.
The give to Thomas, and he's hit in the backfield as slicing through was Russell Maryland, who was picked #1 by the Cowboys in 1991. Of course, played for Jimmy Johnson at the University of Miami. What tackles they had. Jerome Brown and Russell Maryland. Jimmy Jones is also with the Cowboys, and of course Cortez Kennedy. Wow. Second and long, Thomas slips, and then down he goes at the 19. Tony Casillas, who was acquired by Dallas from Atlanta for a #2 pick and a #8 a couple of years ago. He was a #1 draft pick by the Falcons in '86 out of Oklahoma.
Sally's calling the doctor about Kent Hull, saying, get him fixed and get him out here.
Third down 11 for Kelly. And flags go down. No play.
Oh, Dick, did you see Haley go over Wolford? Woo! I mean, this is no play, but you're talking about a guy at 250 pounds.
Ball start. Offense #8, simulating the start of a play. 5-yard penalty, still third down.
I think he has his quarterbacks confused. 8 is on the other team. That would be on Kelly.
Watch at the top of the screen. You see the movement, but watch Haley, 94, over 69. That is an all-pro tackle. He's just shoving back there at the feet of Jim Kelly.
Haley, who starred with the 49ers, has a couple Super Bowl rings. Kelly looking deep, and Lofton can't get to it, and a flag goes down, and that could be a penalty against the Cowboys, roughing Kelly. It is.
Leon Lett was in the area.
Lett, who is described by Dave Wanstadt, the defensive coordinator, as the best backup tackle in the league.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. Defense, #78, 15-yard penalty, first down.
So another costly penalty for Dallas. Remember, the touchdown drive required holding by Larry Brown.
You see 77 Jeff Coat in there, and then Lett. I mean, that was foolish. Here's a young man playing in his first Super Bowl, and he wants to leave an impression, but that's not the one you want to leave.
And the referee Dick Hancock standing right there with a flag, so the penalty takes it out to the 29. Kent Hull is back in the game for Buffalo. Kelly to Reed, complete at the 50. James Washington made the tackle. 21-yard play.
I think Buffalo has discovered exactly what kind of defense they're looking at here. Watch the zone. Reed does a good job of looking inside, and of course Kelly, an absolute master at telling the safety, I'm going the other way, and it comes to the near side for a nice completion.
For the first time, we see Kenneth Davis, #23 in the backfield for Thurman Thomas.
Blitz.
The throw intercepted. James Washington. Washington to the fumbles, but out of bounds to Dallas at the 44-yard line. Washington, who played at UCLA, this was his home field in college.
That ball should not have been thrown. Jim Kelly's going to see this blitzer come right in his face to the right. It's Gant 29. He should have just taken the ball down. You saw you saw Metzelaars, the tight end, slip and fall. So Jim Kelly's probably saying he's open, he's open. When he falls down and the pressure comes, turnover.
They're going to mark it at the Buffalo 47. But Washington's interception gives the Dallas Cowboy fans a reason to cheer at the 47. Aikman starting in plus territory for the first time today. Emmett Smith. Down at the 48, Jeff Wright and Henry Jones.
Number 22, Emmett Smith.
Boy, that was good defensive charge by Buffalo. They had won the battle in the trenches on that first down play.
That time they had their corners off, Dick. They were not right up at the line of scrimmage. You're going to look at the interception. There's Gant, the blitzer, right here. And when Kelly sees that blitz coming, best thing to do for him is just take the ball down. Don't take a chance with throwing the football. Washington, wide awake, does make the pick.
2nd and 11. The throw to Smith, almost a lateral, and he's knocked out of bounds for a loss. Back at the 47 of Dallas, Marcus Patton. Another play by the young linebacker from UCLA. There are 7 UCLA players in this game.
Yeah, they played here at the Rose Bowl, but I don't think it ever looked like this when they played USC. Dick, I got to make this comment. Buffalo last year in the Super Bowl changed their defense. They decided this year we're sticking with what we do best, and it's showing in this initial series. Dallas having great difficulty doing what they do well. Corey has done an excellent job with his defense in the initial stages.
3rd down and 17 for Aikman. He goes deep, and a catch at the 33-yard line. Michael Irvin. 20 yards and a Dallas first down. Beautiful throw by Aikman.
This is the double rotation zone. You're going to see Irvin get by, but J.D. Williams allows him to get by. Now, Darby's got to protect the inside, but this is perfect timing again by this offense. Aikman, a 5-step drop, throws the ball before the receiver makes the break, and it's there, and the defender can do very little about it.
Irvin, who led the Cowboys with 78 catches this year. On 3rd and 17, a 20-yard pickup. 7-0 Buffalo, under 3 minutes to go, opening quarter. Aikman. Chased by Hansen, and then Marcus Patton comes over. Out of bounds at the 31-yard line on the scramble.
Well, there you can see a difference. Patton, he could have hit him right there at the sideline. Taking a chance with a flag, did the smart thing, and did not do that. Leon Lett got the 15-yard penalty for the Dallas Cowboys. Again, we mentioned that the footing has been a little slip. Whoa, that's the splits. Lots of slips. We even had the kicker for Dallas go in before the game even started and change shoes.
It's a new turf and a little greasy for both sides. 2nd and 8 as Bruce Smith lines up and puts his aim on Troy Aikman. It's Emmitt Smith on the draw. First down, I would believe, at the 22 before Talley can tackle him.
Well, that's the play you've got to stop when you play the Dallas Cowboys. It's the lead draw. Offensive lineman show pass. You just turn it loose for Emmitt Smith to find the spot. This kid breaks more tackles for a 210-pound running back than anybody who has ever played the game.
Time out for a measurement.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys rebuilding this team in the last 4 years, and they've had a little luck as well. When they went into the draft in 1990, as you can see the measurement very close. The spot is closer to the 23, and it is a first down. Smith, they wanted James Francis, the linebacker, in 90, so they traded up from 22nd position to 17th, but the Bengals took Francis just before the 17th pick. Emmitt Smith was still there, so they said, all right, we'll take the guy from Florida. It was a pretty good piece of luck for them.
You remember what Jimmy Johnson told us that year? He said, I asked him what the highest rated player on the board was, and he said Junior Seau. So he was going for 2 linebackers, had to settle for Emmitt Smith.
First down is Garrett Gaynor, a former Raider, replaces Johnston at fullback. Aikman. Novacek, touchdown!
Boy, Dick, if you're going to hold the tight end up on some plays, you got to hold him up on every play. He jumps inside Patton, and you can see there's zone coverage there by Buffalo. Nice little out move by Novacek. Free for the score. That was beautifully thrown by Troy Aikman. That is not an easy pass to complete straight up the hash mark.
Try for point by Lynn Elliott. We saw in the pregame show he had trouble with his footing. Not on this occasion. Right down the middle, and a flag goes down. Novacek inducted into the University. Oh, it's against Dallas, so they'll have to kick it again. Inducted into the University of Wyoming Athletic Hall of Fame this past week. Novacek, who lives on a big couple thousand acre spread in Nebraska.
You're going to see the face mask grabbed. That's 34 White Tommy Agee at the bottom of the screen. And
Holding. Offense. Number 34. 10-yard penalty. Retry the extra point.
Now this becomes a 30-yard field goal, not automatic. Steve Berline, the backup quarterback, to hold. Elliott, the rookie from Texas Tech, to kick. Just as straight. It's tied at 7.
you're going to see Novacek throw it. See that little out move? He's influencing the safety. Aikman throws it beautifully down the hash for Dallas's first score.
I've never seen anything like this. Is this wild? Let's get
Welcome back. Playing a key role in Bud Bowl 5, the Bud 1 airship. It's piloted by Tony Stevenson and Corky Bellinger. Oh, it must be fun floating up in the blue today. Lynn Elliott kicks it off. Tied at 7 late in the first quarter. Drag Lamb at the 4 for Buffalo. And Lamb wrestled down at the 24. A flag is down.
Number 81, Brad Lamb, takes the kick at the 40-yard line.
And the illegal use of the hands signal that is so common on kick returns. And Buffalo will start deep in its own end. The dean of NFL coaches in age, 64-year-old Marv Levy.
Illegal block. Number 55 during the return. 10-yard penalty. First down.
Mark Maddox with the penalty. And they'll start from the 10-yard line.
See if we can pick up 55 here. Yes, there's a very small area that the kickers are allowed to hit, but then it's got to be in front, and a helmet also comes off too. So things are getting a little excitable out there, Dick.
Rob Awalt working on Cascade, and a fumble caught by Jimmy Jones. A touchdown, Dallas.
Haley got him, Dick.
And Jimmy Jones, recruited by Jimmy Johnson at Miami, picks up the pumpkin and has one of those glorious moments for a lineman, and the touchdown comes in the Super Bowl. Officially on the return as Kelly hit by Haley. A fumble, 2 yards on the fly to Jimmy Jones. Lynn Elliott's try for point. And again, dead center. Dallas strikes quickly late in the first quarter. It's 14-7.
Dick, Dave Wanstead doing a very interesting thing. You're going to see the pressure come from the right side. Kelly not even paying attention to the right side. Haley hits his arm, caught in the air. Jimmy Jones in the end zone.
And Leon Lett, when he looks at the films of this, it went off Lett's helmet, it appeared, right to his teammate Jones.
That's Haley. He normally plays here. Kelly did not identify where Haley was. Most teams, when they play Buffalo, have to identify Bruce Smith. Jim Kelly didn't do his job there. You got to know where Haley is.
And Lett does indeed get an assist on the play. It went from Haley to Lett's helmet into Jones' arms as number 75, Howard Ballard, a Pro Bowl tackle, one of the best in the NFL, just couldn't handle the speed of Haley.
Jimmy Johnson told us the minute that Haley showed up in our training camp, he was our best pass rusher. First practice.
Interception by Washington. 47 yards later, touchdown on the pass from Aikman to Novacek, and first play on the next sequence, fumble Kelly, touchdown Jimmy Jones, 14-7. Lamb again. Lamb to the 30. He fumbles, and it looks to be recovered by Dallas. No signal yet. Oh my, it squirted away. A Cowboy was on the ball, rolled right over it, and Keith Goganis, a rookie linebacker for Buffalo, was able to scoop it up. This was almost disaster number 3.
And watch this ball stripped away by Gant, 29. No doubt he's trying to knock that ball out of Lamb's arm. Goganis does come up with the big recovery.
At this point, it looked like the Cowboy trailing the play. 52, Mickey Pruitt would get it, but Goganis was quicker. Buffalo from its 42. Kent Hull back at center, so it was not a serious injury. You can see now on this audible, he's calling out the signals with Kelly. Kenneth Davis, and he's near the 50-yard line. Davis, who rushed for over 600 yards this year. What a support for Thurman Thomas. In fact, Wanstead, the defensive coordinator of Dallas, saying this is the best 1-2 punch running back he saw all year.
This guy is faster than Thurman Thomas, the offensive lineman. That's the time to slow down.
2nd and 4. Davis again into Dallas territory, and he plows to the 44. It's a first down with 37 seconds left in the quarter. Dixon Edwards, the tackler.
This is probably not an injury with Thurman Thomas, although he is limping and running something off on the sideline. They do like to alternate, but that looks, I changed my mind. That does look like he's sprained his ankle, a toe, something.
The report now might be a hip injury.
He had a hip pointer and a groin pull in the conference championship game, so trying to run it off as best he can, Dick.
Kelly in no hurry will let the quarter run out. That is the end of the first quarter. All 3 scores on either fumbles, well, and the block punt. 14-7 Dallas.
Well, what an excellent first quarter. I don't think we could have asked for any more. Mark,
He's number 94 there. He's the one that's got to respond accordingly.
let's hope it's going to be as good a second quarter as it was first. Excellent quarter. Now let's go back to the field on the Rose Bowl. The score right now is 14-7, the Dallas Cowboys.
Thurman Thomas, who scored the Buffalo touchdown, back in the huddle. We open the second quarter. Dick Enberg with Bob Trumpy with the ball at the Dallas 44-yard line. First down of Buffalo. Kenneth Davis, ready as a backup. He was picked by the Green Bay Packers in the second round in '86. A Plan B selection by Buffalo's Bill Polian. Thomas in motion. Kelly out of the gun. Over the middle to Reed. Reed running freely. Gets a block. Andre Reed to the 4-yard line. Dixon Edwards saved the touchdown.
Dick again. Buffalo empties the backfield. You'll see the matchup. 83 on Gant, 29. And Reed, who's been begging for the football over the last several weeks of the regular season, turns just a little slant pass into a huge play. That's the same play they started the game with, Dick.
From Cookstown of Pennsylvania, 3 catches, 74 yards in the game for Reed. First and goal for the Bills, trying to tie it up. It's Carwell Gardner inside the 2. James Washington and others pulling him back.
That wasn't quite as smooth as they designed it.
Gardner, 232 pounds, didn't carry it much during the season, gained only 166 yards. He, much like Daryl Johnston of Dallas, in there for blocking. And here comes Mitch Farrat, who set a record of sorts himself, a lineman with 3 touchdown passes this year, as he serves as the 3rd tight end in goal line. Anthony Munoz, the great star for Cincinnati, the big tackle, had 2 touchdown catches in a season. Throughout on the left side is eligible. But it's Thurman Thomas to the goal line, and he's not in. They mark it just outside that final stripe. And Vincent Smith with a good hit. He played at East Carolina.
Again, you'll see time and time again Buffalo run the counter. Richer 51 pulls, Wolford 69 the backside tackle. You see Carwell Gardner in there with a lead block. And Thurman can't quite get it in the end zone as he limps off.
8 carries, 13 yards for Thomas, and that's not a good picture for Buffalo fans. So it's now Davis on 3rd and goal. Davis. Oh. What a tackle by Ken Norton. A KO for Norton.
What a hit. Perfect. Now it's the first big decision by Marv Levy in this game. Elijah Pitts talking to him. Back to Marv Levy.
Ball is about a foot from the goal line.
Norton fired through there, Dick. That was a picture perfect stop. Decision made. Thurman Thomas back in the ball game.
Interestingly, a couple of defensive backs come in for Jimmy Johnson. So they're looking not for a run necessarily here. And Thomas back in the game. And it is a pass. Intercepted. They won't even get the field goal. Thomas Everett with the pick. Kelly with his second pass intercepted. And it didn't look as if it had a chance.
Pete Metzelaars at 6'8" was the primary receiver. You'll see him in the back of the end zone. Kelly never gets it to him. Again, pressure right in his face by Tolbert. Interception, Dallas.
I've never seen anything quite. Is this wild? Let's go. Run. Let's get pulled up. Okay.
Accolades first on the 3rd down. Ken Norton, the 60-minute player. Young man with great speed, hits Kenneth Davis square and stops Buffalo on the 3rd down. And then the interception on 4th.
It really appeared Davis had the momentum and the hole to get in, but Norton denied the touchdown, and then Everett with the interception in the end zone. So Aikman and the Cowboys from the 20. Emmitt Smith gets a couple.
Now, Dick, back to the interception. It appears to me that the primary receiver is going to be Gardner. But you see the pressure by Tolbert on Kelly. This is twice now that Jim Kelly, with defenders in his face, has chosen to throw the football. And it's overthrown past Gardner, intercepted by Everett. And a big play for Dallas. They get it out of their 20 and no points Buffalo.
2nd down, 8. Aikman looking for Novacek. There he is. And a first down at the 33-yard line. That was one of Bill Walsh's favorite patterns with the 49ers, an arrow pattern, that tight end in, stop, and then back out. Fake delay, they called it in Dallas.
Anytime you can get the tight end on a linebacker and you see Patton allows him to get free, Conlon can't cover Novacek downfield. It just can't. There's going to have to be some combination coverage. They tried to come with a blitz by Patton, and Novacek will eat him up all day long doing that.
3 catches now for the Dallas tight end, who figured to have a busy day. On first down, it's Smith. Running a little wider this time, and he's to the 37. Emmitt Smith, the leading rusher in the NFL last year and again this year, and Leon Lett with an injured knee being helped off.
That's
got Godfrey Miles, 98.
Well, they've already got Dixon Edwards on their defense, 58 with a pulled hamstring, and Godfrey Miles started the game here for him. They can't afford to lose linebackers in this Dallas defense.
2nd down and 5.
Aikman beginning to get a little more time to throw, Dick.
Good protection. Now he's forced out of the cup by Hansen. 35-40 and a first down at the 43-yard line.
Well, Troy Aikman's got to go back to the huddle and pat Emmitt Smith on the helmet, because You watch what Emmitt Smith does here to Cornelius Bennett. That is a superior block. And it allows Aikman just a little more time to look down the field and then scramble for a nice pickup. Watch this again from behind Emmitt Smith. That is right into the bread basket. There are offensive linemen who don't do it that well.
Into the biscuit basket.
The biscuit basket, yes.
On first down, it's Mick. And he's covered again, this time Tally. And the beauty of Emmitt Smith's running, and that's why Buffalo's playing as they are, covering all the gaps, because the play may be called for off tackle or guard, but Smith just runs where he sees less of the opposing color.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, Nate Newton told us in talking with him, he doesn't want to hear what problems the offensive line is having with the defensive line. Emmitt Smith, look, you move him somewhere, I'll do the rest.
Don't think about or tell me where you're going to block your man. Just do something and I'll react to it.
He likes movement from his offensive lineman. Then he can read exactly where the holes are.
On second and 10. Aikman gunning. Intercepted. No, they say it was a trap. Trapped by J.D. Williams as he stole the ball from Michael Irvin. Great reaction to the ball by Williams, who had 2 interceptions this year. He played at Fresno State.
Vic, he really came back on this football. J.D. Williams, one of the fastest corners you'll find in the NFL. He has Darryl Green type speed, and that ball did hit the ground. That's an excellent call by Dick Hancock's crew. He gets back underneath Michael Irvin. It goes through Irvin's hands, and that ball does hit the ground.
Well, that would have been something that would have surprised Cornelius Bennett. Remember, Bennett was telling us, hey, J.D. Williams, he can't even catch the ball as well as me. Give me a chance. Put me in at tight end. Biscuit Bennett, who had always wanted to be a tight end, never had a chance. They recruited him as a tight end at Alabama, but moved him to linebacker as the injured Miles take it into the locker room.
Well, still
those football memories, and that play by Ken Norton on the goal line stand will refresh those of you who recall back in Super Bowl 16, Jack Reynolds hit on big fullback Pete Johnson of Cincinnati. A key play in the 49ers' first Super Bowl win. Aikman. And the flat to Novacek. And he carries the tackler, Henry Jones, with him to the 48-yard line. 4 catches for Novacek.
You're going to see Novacek from off the line of scrimmage, the bump by Jones 20, and then Novacek, he absorbs that. This is that arrow you're talking about, the delay outside, the delay option. Just the underneath reception by Novacek. He ran 3 of those in a row against the San Francisco 49ers for about 45 yards.
Good play by Henry Jones to deny the first down, and on 4th down and 4, Saxon to punt. Clifford Hicks back at the Buffalo 13. Fair catch. And Buffalo will have it at their own 15-yard line. 8 minutes, 10 seconds to go in the first half. Cowboys 14, Bills 7.
Can get that drive going.
Bengals, San Francisco, the ball to Pete Johnson, lead blocker Charles Alexander, Archie Reese, Hacksaw Reynolds, Ronnie Lott. Forrest Gregg admitted after that game he outsmarted himself. They had 1st and goal at about the 6. Their best running side was to the left. On 4th down, they went to the right and were stopped.
Ken Norton was there to stop Kenneth Davis. The Bills had 1st and goal at the 4 and couldn't produce any points. Here's Davis. Out across the 20-yard line, a pickup of about 7 on 1st down. Russell Maryland trailing the play with the tackle.
Well, the one thing that we noticed looking at Russell Maryland is that Dave Wannstedt and the Dallas Cowboys defensive staff have been able to rotate their defensive linemen in and out of the game, Dick, to try to keep them fresh.
On 2nd and 3, Davis again as he twists across the 25. They have the first down. Charles Haley hit him first. And Tony Casillas there to support. It is a first down. 25 yards on 5 carries for Davis, who has been even more productive on the ground in the playoffs than Thurman Thomas. Davis again. And he's to the 33, and nearly an 8-yard pickup. Washington and Haley with a stop.
Well, they've kind of got part of their nickel package in it. You see Maryland's part of the run stopper. Godfrey Miles 58, excuse me, Dixon Edwards 58 kind of lost his footing a little bit there. It was a nice pickup.
2nd and 3. Kelly having trouble getting away, and he is acting as if he's hurt. He got hit right on that bad right knee as Ken Norton came shooting through. And Frank Reich, the miracle maker for the Buffalo Bills, who rallied them from 32 points down, is starting to warm up. And they don't come any tougher at this position, quarterback, than Jim Kelly. He'll only come out if he's really seriously hurt. And it appeared from the way he reacted immediately that Norton got him right on the knee.
Well, this is a strategic blitz. You're going to see what happens here. Norton just picks the right spot. Davis is supposed to pick him up. Watch Jim Kelly's left knee. Dallas not known as a particularly big blitzing football team, but they catch him in a dead spot here. Now, we've seen Emmitt Smith make that block. Davis's mistake is you got to stay up on the pass rusher. He went down to Norton's legs, and Norton was able to get across Davis to make the hit.
So with 6:52 left in the first half, it appears that Buffalo has lost its starting quarterback.
You see, you try to teach those running backs to stay up to make those pass protection blocks.
Or your quarterbacks stay down.
Frank Reich warming up on the sideline.
An able substitute. And he comes out throwing to his tight end Metzelars to the 40, and that's a first down. So Reich on 3rd and 3 delivers a pass for a first down.
Now, Dick, if there's a difference between Jim Kelly and Frank Reich, Frank does not seem to throw the ball up for grabs. He stays more within the game plan. Also see him underneath center. Jim Kelly likes and prefers the shotgun.
Play action. Reich complete to Reed. Reed in the open field. To the 22. Kevin Smith with the tackle, and Wright comes out throwing, and throwing strikes. 38 yards to Reed.
A little half roll by Frank Reich. You see the play action fake it again. Reed right in the middle of this Dallas defense, the zone defense, and at the end of this play, nice little assist by James Lofton.
First down at the 22, the hurry-up offense. It's Davis twisting to the 19-yard line. Charles Haley got his mitts on him, and he's got big ones.
If you're going to make big plays, Dick, you hope it at the end of the play that James Lofton can get that block, but then he's doing the right thing. He's not looking back at the receiver. Andre Reed has got to use the block better.
Could have gone left.
Gone left.
Shielded the other way. Kelly will be taken back to the dressing room. 5:21 left in this opening half. 14-7. Dallas leads. Little reverse to Davis. And Davis breaking tackles down to the 12, and he'll be close to a first down. Dixon Edwards, number 58, finally making the stop.
They do so many things on this offense. It's beautifully executed. You saw Thurman Thomas, a tip of the hat, touch of the hand to Davis. Haley stops his play on the outside, so Davis just cuts back. Very gifted runner. When we asked him as a backup sitting on the bench, what do you do? He says, I have to concentrate before anything else.
It is a first down. Looking for a tying touchdown. Thurman Thomas darting and dancing. Inside the 10 and close to the 6-yard line. Edwards again the tackle as Kelly, like Miles of the Cowboys, back to the X-ray machine.
Coming right at you, Wolford. He logs 92 Tolbert in. And there seems to be a little more urgency now in the running of the Buffalo Bills offense.
4:15 left in the half. 10th play of the drive. Right. Ooh, Don Beebe, and it's broken up by Larry Brown. And Brown got the left hand in to deny a touchdown.
That was close. Again, you're going to see a little bit of slippage there by Brown. Dick, if he doesn't slip, BB did miss it. I thought Brown got his hand in there.
I did too, but from that angle, it appeared that BB had a clear shot at a touchdown. Tough catch, but makeable. 3rd and 4. Their last trip down deep in Dallas territory.